Thank you for your interest in the Retained Recruiter show powered by iIntro. Before the show starts, I have a small favour to ask of you. Our goal is to provide you with the most insightful, helpful and practical recruitment knowledge and know-how from the best in the recruitment industry. If you like this channel and enjoy watching our content, hit the subscribe button to get notified as soon as we upload a new episode. Thank you again, and as ever, we're rooting for your success. Now, time for the show. Hello and welcome to the Retained Recruiter show. My name is James.
My name is Jo, and welcome everybody to the show today. We've got a familiar face with us today, haven't we, James?
Yeah, should we try and get him in the middle?
I know.
No, please, ladies in the middle.
Go on, let's do a bit of technology, see if we can switch him around. Anyway, if we can't, we can't. Anyway, there we go. Look at that, the wonders of technology. The main man is in the middle. So today, Jo, as you know, and I missed the last show that you did with Plamen directly, but today we're joined by Plamen Ivanov. Plamen is the executive chairman and co-founder of iIntro, sponsors of the Retained Recruiter show. Plamen has got a wealth of experience, not just from the recruitment industry over the last 17 years. In October, he reminded me today, it'll be 17 years experience in the recruitment industry, but also has had a long and interesting career in some other markets which were aligned to the way that we sell those. So Plamen may talk a little bit or make some references to his experience in the financial services and property industry. So we're going to bring those through. But Plamen has literally spoken to thousands of recruiters over the last 16, 17 years, sharing them with him his thoughts on how they can transition their offering from a traditional transactional recruitment process to a retained recruitment process. And as this is called the Retained Recruiter show, there's no better guest to have. So Plamen, we're delighted that you're joining us once again.
Yes,
thank you. By the way, could I ask the audience, we keep talking and it's like the three...
Careful.
The three of us talking and we don't have any feedback from the audience. Now, could I please ask the audience, if we say something that you like, you just click on a thumbs up or something that basically tells us that you're listening to us and you are participating, even though without direct participation. At least just give us a sign. It'd be good. So the topics today, thank you, Jo. The topics today, I mean, I've been one-dimensional from the point of view of retaining my beliefs in what the recruitment industry needs to go into and how it's changing for quite some time. Just to remind some of the people that don't know my history, I've co-founded a recruitment firm first in 2007. That will be 17 years since I've entered into the recruitment market. In the first 3 years, this business was a very transactional, contingency-based recruitment with limited number of fees, 16% and £7,000. That's what we used to get paid. And I wasn't operationally involved in the business for the first 3 years. In 2009, I exited my previous business and I thought, well, let's see what I can do to help my colleagues there do hopefully better. And now, not being a recruiter helped me quite a lot, helped us all together, because I was looking at the business as a business from the outside in. And most recruiters will probably sometimes, because they've got the daily tasks to make the money and to do all the stuff that they do, they get to into what I call a tunnel vision, and they don't see it outside. So me chipping in here from the outside in ultimately helped our business change quite dramatically. In 2010, I came in operationally in this business, and we started a process that in a period of 18 months converted our own recruitment business from it being 100% contingent business to 100% retained. So since January 2012, our business became a 100% retained business in exactly the same or similar markets, but we changed the service solution. So I guess we made some mistakes in the beginning that clearly stand out and that made us change. And I had three fundamental problems. Firstly, when you're working on a transactional contingency business, you only deliver what the client needs on the basis of, I have a need. Could you find me three potentially suitable candidates? We go out to market, find them the three potentially suitable candidates, send them across, and then the client takes over. Now, if you think of it, that's a very transactional process. And sadly, you cannot determine the fee. The client determines the fee. The second problem is you don't have a unique service proposition. And because of that, you're competing with 90% of the industry. That makes it harder for you. And thirdly, the productivity of the business is determined by the fill rate. So if you're working on 5 roles and you fill 1, your productivity is, say, 20%. That means, in analogy for it, is imagine you come into work on Monday, you work until Friday, and you only get paid for Friday. Now, very few people will be okay in principle with that, but that's exactly what happens. Now, fast forward, in 2015, we launched our intro based on the same method and process that enabled us to become 100% retained, increase our productivity, increase our fees, and ultimately become a brand in the marketplace that started to attract clients' attention. If you think of it, in order to increase your fees, you need to offer something that nobody else can offer, number one. And number two, it needs to represent a quantifiable value for the client. Otherwise, why would they buy it? Why would they retain you? Why would they pay you 25% plus? This is where our fees are at this moment in time. So that's the background. Now,
very good, Palmer. That's a great introduction. And one of the things I'd say to the people who are listening, and remember, Plum, it's not just the people. So if we don't get the thumbs up at the beginning, don't worry. We actually have a higher audience of people who watch this at the time that's convenient for them, because when you're doing a live show, as Joe will share with you as well, we do get a moment of time. But one thing I want to say is, Plum just gave that introduction, and we're here to talk about something else today, the 5 key mistakes. But if you want to talk to Plum, there's a little link up there, www.retainedcall.com. And you can book some time direct with Plum to talk to him about your business, but perhaps more importantly, what he did with his business and how he moved that over. So that's great. So Plum, the key topics today, Joe, what's the headline for today's webinar? What are we talking about today?
I think it's a brilliant topic. So the top 5 mistakes made by recruitment business owners. Plum, you mentioned earlier on, when you're in business, you're building a business, you do tend to make quite a lot of mistakes. And I sometimes don't think that you realize you're doing it, because you don't know what you don't know a lot of the times as a business owner. So we thought of this title, thought it'd be really good. Plum's going to share his top 5 mistakes that recruitment business owners make with us over the course of this. And if any of you do have any questions, by the way, feel free to pop them in the comments. I know we've got quite a few watching live. So hi to Dax as well, who's also watching. Thanks for your comment in the section there. So Plum, kick us off then. Mistake number 1, what is it?
Well, just before that, just think about it this way. Businesses, industries, the world is very cyclical. I met with James Caan in 2008, and he said every 7 years we have a bump on the road. It could be actually shorter now because markets vary. But if you think of it, business is cyclical. And if I give you the analogy of Game of Thrones, if everybody or people that are watching or listening to remember Game of Thrones. It's
watched it once.
Oh, there you go. But you're the exception, I hope. But essentially, in Game of Thrones, everybody was talking about the winter is coming, the winter is coming, the winter is coming. And it became a narrative that nobody really paid attention to because everybody was saying it. So if you think of it, the winter is coming in recruitment, a bump on the road is expected. Most people fail. That's mistake number 1. To plan in good times what happens when the bad times come. Does that make sense, everybody? Anybody to just give me a thumbs up or yes or no? It'd be good. So planning in advance and strategizing what's the response in case your business goes down. Now, if you're a multiple billers business, or if you're just a solopreneur or just a small business, it doesn't matter. Planning what happens. So imagine this: if the market reduces like it happened through COVID, like it's happened in the past, and over COVID, it reduced by as much as 40%. Most people went out of business because they failed to plan. Some of the smaller businesses basically quit, or some of the ones that survived had to cut costs, reduce their staff. All these teams that they've built over the years, they've had to reduce them. So planning what happens in situations where the market is down. And there are elements which I'll share with you in a moment as to how to plan for these. But essentially, the one that is extremely important is, once again, having a deep and meaningful relationship with your clients. Now, that's very important. And ask yourselves, the audience, do I really have a deep and meaningful relationship with my client? What I mean by that is, if you think of it, there are a number of stages which the clients go through. They are firstly prospects. That's everybody. Then they become customers when they buy once from you. Then they go into a client mode, and the client is someone that buys multiple times but has no commitment. Now, the ultimate level where you need to bring your relationship with your clients is what I call advocates. And advocates are people that have a meaningful relationship with you, and this is not just doesn't happen overnight. It just needs to be worked on and developed. But you need to know what an advocate looks like and what you need to do for the advocate so they continue to buy from you. And even if they're thinking of something else, they'll come and ask for your advice. I'm thinking of looking at XYZ technology, or I'm looking at another recruitment firm. What do you think I should do? Or I'm looking at building an internal team. Now, these are the type of relationship we need to create. Now, how do you create an advocate? Advocate is someone that you create going through the process, but ultimately meeting them on a regular basis, at least once a year, if not more often, and setting up clear parameters of what good looks like for the service that you deliver for them. So you've got a measure of what good looks like. Now, when you've created this and you go to see them every 12 months or 6 months or even 3 months, you can then have a measure against the parameters set. So creating advocates is extremely important. And it starts for the Dream 100 prospects, so to speak, or clients. You need to have an avatar of what a good client looks like. And talking about analogies, I used to work in financial services many years ago. And there was a lady called Helen Newton. Now, Helen Newton used to have a Dream 100 clients. And every year, at the end of the year, if she's acquired some new clients, she used to write to everybody. And she used to say, we need to have a meeting to review our relationship. And she had parameters of what good looked like from her point of view. A minimum level of business, because I'm providing you extra service and I can't work with more than 50 or 100 people. And she used to exclude these people that didn't fit the criteria. So imagine her standard level was so high that people had to qualify to become her Dream 100 clients.
I think that's moved on, hasn't it? I think, that in sales, that would have been called the takeaway clause. I think nowadays it's called FOMO.
FOMO?
Yeah. Fear of missing out.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, possibly, yeah. Or just the fear of getting rid of clients. I do believe that some recruitment businesses now have a servile relationship with clients, and they think that any business is better than no business. Whereas actually, it's not necessarily true, is it? You know, if you need to make sure that you've got a high quality of clients. Otherwise, it's just going to affect your productivity and your performance overall.
Joe, it's interesting. And hello, Dax, because I think you joined me yesterday. One of the things I said on a webinar I gave yesterday, which is very related to what you're talking about there, and that is, as recruiters, because let's talk about as recruiters now. Let's bring it into this market. how many vacancies have you had on in the past year where you didn't succeed? How many vacancies have you had on in the past 5 years with the same companies who've never paid you any money? So stop working with those people who just give you the runaround, particularly on a transactional basis. And John, thanks for saying you're watching it all as well. As some of you may not know, Plamen is actually Bulgarian. So I saw the words up there, Valhar Doris, and I thought that must be Bulgarian. So I just Googled it and I found out it's somebody on Game of Thrones. So, hey.
Do you know what? I was wondering actually if it was something on Game of Thrones.
No, I just copied and pasted it and found out it's on Game of Thrones. So I'm assuming that Plamen knows who that is. So that's good.
Before
I let you back in, Plamen, because what you did there is you covered 2 areas, because obviously we talked about the top 5 mistakes. The first one you spoke about, I just want to summarize this for everybody listening, and hopefully you're taking notes. What Plamen was saying, and there's a cliche in here as well, is failing to plan is planning to fail. And what Plamen was saying, good times, bad times, you've got to plan your business. The what if scenarios. What if there's a downturn in business of 50%? How will you cope with it? In terms of what does that mean to your office structure? That could be your people, could be your physical location. These are all things that you need to take into account. How are you going to sort of maintain, I'm going to come to client ratios, but how are you going to maintain your clients? Are you going to do things like reduce your fees? I'm not recommending that, really. We're talking about service proposition more on this one. And I think we're coming out, particularly as we came out of 23, we all had a great bumper 22. 23 was a bit rocky. The start of 24 was a bit rocky, but most people are looking forward now. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be planning for success going forward as well. So not just not just consequence of something, if the downturn, if winter is coming, but I don't think we're saying that today, but still planning for success as well. And then Plamen, you've gone on to talk about, and I want Joe to just add something else on this one, which is all to do with the Dream 100. In terms of building those deep, meaningful relationships with your clients. And I can go back over the previous 15, 20 years, when it's always about having those relationships. And that little analogy you gave with that lady in financial services, it's really, there's some real positives on that. Joe, but what are our views on the Dream 100?
So we talk about the Dream 100 a lot when we train our intro clients and work with recruitment companies. So the Dream 100, it's a very strategically put together list of organizations that you're either already working with and want to maximize relationships with, have worked with at some point in the past and want to resurrect, and then other companies that are similar / competitor organizations to them. And that list of 100 becomes your target client list that you yourself, in a bespoke way, is going to go out and approach and engage with in order to turn them into clients, or sort of push them up the client ladder, so to speak. It's very strategic, it's very targeted, it's easy to do alongside working on some of these other businesses and jobs that you're working on. But then, exactly like you just said before, Plamen, as well, is looking at the clients that you've already got. The easiest way to make more money is to make more money with the clients that you already have. So that's doing 2 things. Firstly, just because you have jobs with them, that doesn't mean that's all the jobs that they've got. What do you know? Do you know what the 12-month plan is? What level of influence do you have over the client? And can you maximize your level of influence and advocacy with this client? But then also looking at your clients and qualifying them, exactly like you said that this lady did. Just because they've got jobs, you don't need to work them. You need to be able to choose your clients wisely, as if they were horses in a race. Think, if that was a horse in a race, would I back it? What are the odds on me getting my return on investment? And some clients you'll never bill with at all. Other clients, and I would definitely beg business owners to do this, is go and have a look at your client list for this year, last year, and the year before. I mean, then we've got COVID and it all went a little bit weird. Maybe look at prior to COVID. You'll find that there is quite a massive amount of churn in client lists year on year, which means that we probably don't retain the number of clients that we should do, but also then calculate your return on investment from the clients that you have worked with, because some of them who you are working with are not yielding a high enough level of return on investment for you to probably consider either A, wanting to work with them moving forwards, or B, maybe you need to sit down with them and say, look, we need to have a talk about this relationship because this isn't working for us from a commercial standpoint. And I just don't think that we do that enough in recruitment,
Great. Hopefully that's Joe, you said some amazing things there. I hope people are making notes on this or listening back. Plamen, we've done 2 out of the 5. We're down to the last 10, 12 minutes. So
okay.
What's the third point you want? What's the third big mistake that recruiters often make?
Not having a unique service proposition.
Okay.
I challenge everybody that's listening to this one is to take a pen and paper in the next 15 seconds. just to jot down. By the way, feel free to actually pop them into your comments, by the way. I want you to just think of one unique service proposition or unique selling point that you have to offer to your clients. And whether you do it or don't now, think of it. When you've written them down, ask yourself the question, is this so unique that nobody else can say it? And otherwise, they're just not unique selling point. They're just selling points. So creating a unique service proposition or unique selling points needs to be something that your clients value, and you need to quantify it in a way that is unequivocal, absolutely with a proof. So you need to evidence to the client where the value lies of doing business with you and why they should work with you only as opposed to everybody else. Now, I can expand on this one, but we've got limited time, so I'm not going to go into USP, but ultimately, unique selling points need to be unique, and it needs to be quantifiably better than what the clients are getting at this moment in time. Otherwise, you're just a wandering generality, like the 90% of the recruitment industry service offerings.
So don't be a wandering generality. Is that what you're saying?
You need to become a meaningful specific, and you need to be able to prove it. Now, this sounds quite generic, but I'm taking a challenge. If anybody wants to know more about it, book a meeting with me. And if you don't know about it, I will show you a very unique service proposition that very few, as a matter of fact, 300-400 companies that have actually engaged with our intro can actually offer this sort of service. So the competition is very minimal. And typically we've got, using our pitch process, as much as 70% pitch to close rate. So if hypothetically you put me in front of 10 prospective clients using the same method and process, I'll close 7 out of 10 on higher fees and a retained basis.
Here you go, Plowman. We've got a challenge for you. John's come in and said he'll have a go. Here's his USPs, or here's his you're going to say the recipes, but anyway, he's got 20 plus years experience and knowledge of his niche locally on both sides of the fence as a client and recruiter. So position yourself as an employer. Tell me what you think of those USPs.
Well, just before John pitched his, I've had another John that said they've got 25 years experience. Actually, someone said they've got 375,000 years experience. And they've worked on both sides of the fence. So where is the uniqueness of what you just said, John? Forgive me for challenging you, but that's the fact.
I'm going to recommend that John challenges you on a personal basis. So listen, we all know that USPs, and it is difficult. Again, sometimes people say the only thing that's unique in this room is me, because you as an individual are there. But it's about how you portray your value proposition to your clients. That's what we've got to do. And just having those comments. And I know Plum was being slightly facetious there, John, but he was being meaningful as well. He was being meaningful as well, because he's saying, listen, the John who came in before has got a similar amount of experience. So what else can you do? And it's not to belittle or decry what you're saying, because what you're saying is important. It's important the client does know you've got that experience on both sides of the fence, but it's not enough. It's not enough to take on further. So
correct, yeah.
So, Paul, let's talk about another one. Give us another point. USP is really important, and we can help there. What else have we got?
Well, I'd say that marketing doesn't work.
What?
Most people market.
Heresy.
They send emails. They post on LinkedIn. They do all sorts of things. And considering the noise that exists on LinkedIn, where we mostly spend our time, it's very difficult to hear what everybody else is saying. There is no unique messaging. There is no structure. So what's the difference? I'm not suggesting you should not do marketing, but there are elements that after you've done marketing that you need to follow religiously. And marketing is about 3 distinct steps: know, like, and trust. You need to engage your clients. You need to inform them of what you do. You need to get them to like what you do, or not, obviously not knowing whether they like what you do or they don't like it, is a clear indicator that you're basically shooting the gun in the air and hope the ducks will fly into your shot. That's what spray and pray marketing is. Now, becoming a marketeer needs to be followed with specific disciplines of communicating with your clients. And you only contact people that you know that like what you do. And the way to do it is not by looking at the thumbs up on LinkedIn, etc. But when you're sending an email, you need to track. You need to track everything. You need to track open rate. You need to track engagement rates and everything else thereafter. And you need to have the discipline to interact with the people that you've generated some likes. And I don't mean the likes of the thumbs up. Essentially, tracking is knowing who's opening your emails, who is clicking in the white papers, who is downloading stuff. These are basically elements of client interaction with your content. So having a system that enables you to do that is extremely important. Does that make sense? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Well, how can we expand that, Joe, in terms of marketing doesn't work? How do you make marketing work? I mean, Plowman said, to follow that. What else would you recommend? Think of
I think too many people hide behind marketing. I think bad marketing is going to get more exposure than actual good marketing, because we've got to that kind of like the antipathy of it now, where we're all sharing how bad marketing approaches are and how generic they are and things. And so I think marketing is great if you want to be informative or educational or insightful. It gets you into people's eyeballs. It enables people to understand what it is that you do. Marketing isn't about pitch slapping people, in the hope that someone's then going to buy from you, because very rarely do people buy from marketing alone. Marketing is designed to kind of get you into people's peripheral vision. And then you use it in combination with, don't you, other things. So we talk about the kind of the holy trinity of business development, so social media and marketing and sales, because it's still a contact sport. And if you want to be arm's length with your clients and be transactional and work at 7%, then fine. If you want to work based on bits of paper, then you can probably sell to them based on bits of paper. But you're not. You want to develop deep and meaningful relationships with these clients, so they're going to pay you more and pay you for longer. So you have to get involved. You have to have personalized and bespoke interactions with these people. And I'm absolutely amazed at how many recruiters just don't have meetings with clients or with potential clients, sales meetings, recruitment partnership meetings. I'm astounded. The vast majority of recruiters, their aim is to, pick up job orders on the phone and get job specs sent to them so that they can send CVs to clients. And, we're trying to get away from that, which I know is hard because we've conditioned that to be normal in the industry. But, get out there and meet with your clients, be it over the phone, over Teams, face-to-face, in a coffee shop, because that's when you're going to develop great relationships with people. And that's when you're going to be truly consultative. You're going to be able to help them to solve problems. And that's when they're going to really value you. And like John was saying before, 20 years experience, knowledge of your niche market, that's incredibly valuable to clients, because that enables them to have a competitive advantage. It enables them to build their business faster in the right direction. But all that stuff, they're your unique USPs. So you've got to get out there in front of clients in order to be able to do that, and not hide behind marketing alone, because that's what everyone else is doing. And there's too much noise. It's like just white noise out there.
But take that holy trinity that Joe mentioned, marketing, social media, and sales outreach. It's context war. So coming up towards the end, let's talk about the fifth mistake. So we've rattled through 4. Plowman, what's your mistake number 5? And you're going to quote someone like Zig Ziglar or somebody else?
Of course. Now, I hope that the audience remembers a lovely movie called Jerry Maguire. And most people remember it with Show Me the Money.
Yeah.
I don't want you to think of Show Me the Money. Think of another one. There is a very intimate and personal relationship between an agent,
Jerry,
and his candidate, so to speak. His name is Cuba Gooding Jr. and obviously Tom Cruise. And they're talking about ambassador of Quorn. Now, this is an invented word, but if you go to YouTube and put an ambassador of Quan, you can actually watch the clip.
How do you spell Quan? How do you spell Quan?
Quan, Q-U-A-N.
Oh, not like Quan as in, meat.
No. Quan. Quan is an invented word, but interestingly, what's an ambassador of Quan? Jerry Maguire used to work for a firm and used to place people, place units. Oh, let's have this unit here. Let's have that unit there.
Transactional.
Very transactional. And sadly, this is what sometimes business demands. You need to be faster. Think of it, contingency recruitment. Client has a need. You know that you've got 3-4 other competitors against you. So you need to go out to market, find 3-4 potentially suitable candidates and bang them across to the client. That's basically commoditizing the process.
And Jerry has an epiphany, doesn't he?
Well, Jerry had an epiphany, wrote a memo at 3:25 in the morning, delivered it to everybody, and he says, less is more. And he got sacked by 12:30 the next day by his best friend. Now, the ultimate moral of the story is that genuinely we need to care. And I'm sure that everybody out there says, well, I care. Of course I care. But we're so busy sometimes to do what the clients want us to do that we don't really care or pay attention, true care for the candidate. So imagine if you become an ambassador of Quan for your candidates and you don't go out to say, by the way, I've got a job that pays X, Y, Z, and it's got 3 of your potential 4 qualities and you're good for it. Let's see if we can get your CV out there and book you an interview and that's your job done. Transactional. Ambassadors of Quan are people that go to their candidates and they say, I want to represent you for your 10, 20 years career development. And this might require 2 or 3 different jobs. Let's sit down and plan this. What is it you want to get out? What's the personal thing that you want out of it? Is it bigger salary? Is it more quality of life, working from home, or a car parking spot in the middle of Mayfair? It doesn't matter. What matters is what the candidates want. Now, when you're starting to work with candidates like that, eventually these people will work with you and you only.
Good advice.
Their true value.
Good advice. I didn't think you were going to quote Jerry Maguire. I thought you were going to quote Zig Ziglar when he said that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
And that one as well.
Of course, yeah. Well, getting that one in. Listen, we've whistled through our time, and obviously we're just conscious that we catch people either before they're heading to work or over the lunch break and whatever. But we covered 5 key mistakes that people make, and I just want to sort of clarify those for people. So the reality is, in terms of planning, is the one mistake. It's one of the 5 mistakes. The big mistakes people failing to plan is planning to fail. Then it's about building deep and meaningful relationships with your clients. So think Dream 100. And if you want more advice on that, please do get in touch with us. We can definitely help on there. Actually, we can help on all of these points. Creating and developing and implementing strong USPs in your business. That's really critical for people to understand that will separate you from the herd. When Palmer says he's worked with 300 or 400 recruitment firms, just to put that into context, there are 232,000 recruitment agencies in the world. And when he says 90%, he actually really means 99% of the rest of the market isn't doing that. So give yourself some competitive advantage and move to the 1%, is what we'd say there. The second last point that Palmer made not long ago was marketing doesn't work unless you have the other elements that go with it. So it's the application of all those skills. And the final thing that he said is it's all about caring for your clients and your candidates and becoming an ambassador of Quan. That's going to have a few hits on YouTube later.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
You want to wrap up, Joe, and finalize. We'll say goodbye then.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you very much, Plum. It's been brilliant having you on. It's always brilliant having you on. I think a lot of people will take inspiration from this today. Might not necessarily now know how to implement it or what to do to move forward. And again, that's why, we've been flashing this link up the whole way through the session today. If you do have any questions, just you can contact us. You can grab a consultation with Plum. And obviously you can reach all of us on LinkedIn as well. So yeah, thanks very much, Plum. And it's been super having you on again.
And thank you, guys. I just want to say, John, if you're still listening, please reach out to me or I will. I just want to have a conversation because what we have is genuinely unique and it's evidence-based. So please let me know if you want to have a chat. I'd love that. Thank you.
I'm sure we'll. Listen, everybody, thanks very much for joining us. Join us again in a couple of weeks' time. Keep an eye out for our special guest that we're having there. Joe, do we know who the special guest is yet? Anyway, we do.
No, we do. Yes. So we have Paul Dean, who is a legislation expert in recruitment. So the do's and don'ts and the things you should be doing as a recruiter and for your recruitment business. Things are changing. They're always changing. He's going to keep us up to date with everything that we need to know.
Great. Thanks for sticking with us, John. We'll show you the money. See you again in a couple of weeks. Thanks very much. It's been fun. Thanks for listening to us. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.